Good evening. You're tuned into Art Television and this is The State of Business. I'm Nishani Pigera. Let's first take a look at tonight's headline stories. No final decision to abolish Anti-Corruption Committee, Secretariat says Cabinet spokesperson. Finance Ministry begins preparation work for 2018 budget. In tonight's main story, Co-Cabinet spokesperson Dr. Rajat Senaratne says no final decision has been reached to abolish the Anti-Corruption Committee Secretariat. However, its term ended on June 30th. Dr. Senaratne also confirmed that President Maithripala Sirisena has said that if the FCID, AG's department and the police are given to him for 3 months, most of the investigations on corruption will be ended.
එතුමා කිව්වා පැහැදිලිවම මේක නීති හා සාමය යටතේ තියෙන්නේ මේ පොලිසිය එතකොට CID එක FCID එක මේ ඔක්කොම මේ විමර්ශන කරන ආයතන මේක මට දුන්නොත් මම මාස 3න් මේ සියලුම ප්‍රධාන වංචා පිළිබඳව වාර්තා ටික මම ඉදිරිපත් කරනවා කිව්වා. මම නම් ඒ වෙලාවෙම කිව්වා පවර ගන්නයි කියලා. මාස 3න් හරි මාස 6කින් හරි මේකේ ප්‍රතිඵල එනවා නම් ඔය හොරකම් ටික ගෙනාව නම් ඔය ඔක්කොම කතා ඉවරයිනේ. ඔය පාරේ යන පෙළපාලි ඔය පිකටින් ඔය ඔක්කොම පිටිපස්සෙන් නූල් තියෙන එක තැනකනේ. සොරුන් අපිට සමාජගත කරන්න ඕනේ නැහැ. අපිට ඕනේ හිරගත කරන්න.
Meanwhile, responding to a question raised by a journalist on the statement issued by the leading prelates of the three Nikayas following a meeting in Kandy yesterday, the minister said whether the country needs a new constitution or not will be decided by the parliament and not by the government.
What is the government's response or reaction to what the Mahanayakas are saying? And do you consider that this is a setback to the government's proposal to have a new constitution?
No, it is not the government. No, it is the parliament who should decide. Now this is before the parliament. This has nothing to do with the government. Now there are 6 committees being set up. Certain committees, the secretaries are appointed from the opposition, not from the government. Now Bandula Gunawadana is the secretary for finance. The entire parliament now sits as a constitution assembly, like in 1972. Then the entire parliament has decided to appoint 6 committees. So 6 committees are drafting 6 reports for the constitution. Those reports will be submitted to the parliament. Then the parliament will discuss. Then if that is been finalized, then it will go for a vote. So it should be to be passed with the 2/3 majority. After that, if the Supreme Court says that we should direct this to a referendum, we have to go for a referendum. This is the constitutional process. Then the parliament must decide no new constitution for how long.
Finance Minister Mangala Samaraweera has sought the Cabinet consent to prepare the 2018 budget in line with the performance-based budgeting according to Macro Public Finance Framework 2018-2020. The budget limits for the line ministries will be determined based on that. The Macro Public Finance Framework aims to achieve targets such as increasing public income to 16.5% of gross domestic product by 2020. Recurrent expenditure to be 14.8% of GDP, public investment to be 5.3% of GDP. It also aims to reduce budget deficit to 3.5% of GDP and reduce public debt to 70% of GDP. The government also plans to obtain a loan of $75 million from the International Development Agency for a financial sector modernization project. The interest rate will be 3.36%. The Cabinet has ratified to go ahead with the proposal. In more news tonight, Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe says the government will further improve existing financial safety net mechanisms in the country. He also says state regulators have the responsibility of upholding financial system stability.
The Prime Minister expressed these views at the opening of the new building complex of the Institute of Bankers of Sri Lanka. The Central Bank Governor, Dr. Indrajit Kumaraswamy, also attended the event.
Finance is something that has to be managed prudently by looking at long-term sustainability and its short-term profit. That is why the government is interested in keeping a financial safety net mechanism. It is the role of the state regulators to keep the system stable while individuals take care of themselves. This is the market mechanism we need to see in the financial sector of the economy. We are also proposing an international financial center, which will change the landscape of the financial system and the economy of Sri Lanka.
That the challenge for us now is execution. That really, and when people ask me, what are the 3 priorities in my view, I keep saying it's execution, execution, and execution. Because the plans are in place, now we need to get them done. it's somewhat ironic that foreigners seem to have more confidence in our economy than our own private sector. There is foreign money coming into our stock market. There is some foreign money coming into the government securities market. Yet, we are not really seeing the animal spirits of the domestic private sector activated in the way it could be.
Time for us to slip in for a short break. There's more news on the other side. Do stay with us. Welcome back to the State of Business. A top private sector professional highlights the importance of a strong policy structure to drive Sri Lanka's tourism sector. CEO of Chevron Lubricants, Dr. Kishu Gomez, presenting his evaluations on the tourism sector's achievements in the past decade, stressed that the country has failed to meet major expectations in the tourism industry. Sri Lanka has been ranked 64 out of 134 countries in the Travel and Tourism Competitiveness Index issued by the World Economic Forum.
The 2017 Travel and Tourism Competitiveness Report carries out an in-depth analysis of the travel and tourism competitiveness of 136 economies across the world. It ranks the countries on how well they deliver sustainable economic and social benefits through travel and tourism sectors. Sri Lanka, with an overall score of 3.8 out of 7, is ranked high in price competitiveness, prioritization of travel and tourism, and safety and security. However, the country has not able to score well in areas such as cultural resources and business travel, air transport infrastructure, ICT readiness, and health and hygiene.
I looked at the tourism and travel contribution to the national GDP, which stood at 8% way back in 2005. And in 2016, it only went up to 11.4%. So over the past 11 years, incremental contribution is only 3.4%. And I looked at the competitiveness of Sri Lanka in the global ranking for tourism. We are ranked 64th this year, and last year we were 63rd. The countries within this region that are below us are Bangladesh, Nepal, Pakistan, Bhutan. All the other countries that you can think of are much above us. India, being the country we know, they are at 52nd level. So there is tremendous competition. So I would like to suggest we have a long way to go before we're able to boast of success or wins.
After this break, it's a Stock Watch. Do stay tuned. Welcome back to the show. Trading at the Colombo Stock Exchange ended in the red due to price losses in counters such as Carson's Cumberbatch, Dialog Asiata and John Keells Holdings. The all-share price index dropped by 24.37 points to close at 6,709.76, and the S&P SL20 index dropped by 13.47 points to close the session at 3,907.12. Turnover was 854.7 million rupees and 24.4 million shares were traded. High net worth and institutional investor participation was witnessed in Ceylon Coal Stores, John Keells Holdings, Hemas Holdings and Commercial Bank. Mixed interest was observed in Hatton National Bank and Richard Pearis and Company, whilst retail interest was noted in Brown's Investments. Meanwhile, foreign investors remained active, closing as net buyers. Up next are the day's forex rates. And that winds up the show for tonight. Do join us again tomorrow at the same time. Until then, thank you for watching. Have a pleasant evening.